Did you know that St. Luke's University Health Network, based in the Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania, has been recognized by the U.S. government as the highest performing health system in the United States for quality? You heard right. St. Luke's #1 recognition affirms our status as the top leader among the most respected healthcare providers in the nation, including Houston Methodist and the Mayo Clinic. To state it simply, if you want to receive the best care when you go to a hospital, come to St. Luke's.
Sunday morning, where this is Dr. Sky, also known as Steve Cates, and a host on Saturdays and Sundays on WABC from midnight to 2 a.m. Well, Steve Cates, Sunday morning, what are you tingling our minds with?
Well, John, good morning. Happy Sunday morning to you and the listeners. You know, we go back to the origin of the universe, and many people in the science world are a little bit disturbed about the concept of a Big Bang. And many cosmologists, the people who study this creation scientifically, say it wasn't a Big Bang at all. And many believe that this universe, when it formed, may have been something called a big bounce. Now, what's that? It means that a previous universe, John, that expanded and then obviously shrank, formed a whole other universe. And this is a totally amazing story because, John, for so many years, this Big Bang theory has been generally accepted and taught in schools, but now we're getting some other side of the equation information.
Steve, they used to teach back in the 14th century, 15th, that the world was flat. So, I mean, there is no way that we know about expanding universes, and there's no way about another universe besides. I mean, This is all theories. Who comes up with these theories, Steve?
Well, John, I think to keep the cosmologists employed, it's kind of funny. They have to come up with other theories. But even more important, John, what could be more important than that, is that we really don't know about the origin of this universe. Because the other big problem, which is not for this discussion, is that time itself may totally be an illusion. And everything that we thought was factual, I mean, Einstein had some numbers that still make sense today from relativity that he developed. But the reality is, what I'm trying to say in simple words, and I think you would agree, the more we seem to know, the less confident we are, and that's why science continues. But the whole creation of the universe, many people are trying to describe it as it wasn't a big explosion. It was an expansion, but what did it expand from? That's a mystery.
Well, Steve, me and you talk a lot. The big mystery for this month is, what is the truth about UFOs? What is the truth of what the astronauts saw and NASA never allowed them to talk about it? To me, that is the big mysteries.
You're right.
What is the rover on Mars seeing, et cetera, and my mind, and the other thing my mind has been expanding on is we know Flash Gordon has come true,
Right.
And Star Trek, how true some of the stuff that we saw on Star Trek is it? We don't really know, but it's good to expand the mind and let the mind think.
Well, John, to expand on what you just said, I was very close to Gene Cernan, one of the last astronauts on the moon. And I, proposed those questions many, many times before. And he, of course, stared me in the eye and said, I have no idea what you're talking about. So you can see this great cover-up.
Well, by those words alone, it's a cover-up.
Oh, absolutely. So the mystery continues. But moving on, John, some of the interesting things in planetary science, Mercury, the closest planet to the sun, scientists and astrogeologists are saying that when Mercury formed, deep within its core, because it was a lot of carbon and magma, the stuff that bubbles out of volcanoes, that it's possible, very possible, that Mercury may have this gigantic patch of diamonds. Because how do you get diamonds, John? You have carbon under incredible pressure. So little tiny Mercury may be a literal, not a gold mine, but a diamond mine about how planetary objects have formed. So this is amazing, how the great synthesis of the universe came about. So many wonderful things. And John, we end off on the mystery of the week. This is a very interesting story. A statue of the Greek god Helios, the Colossus of Rhodes. It's one of the 7 original ancient wonders of the world. But what many people may not know, it only stood for 55 years. This obviously was one of the amazing patron god of road, 100+ feet tall. And this is interesting because one of those ancient monuments, one of the original wonders of the world, never lasted as long as the pyramids, which are over 4,500 years old. But we find out that in great Greek mythology, and I'm sure you have great expertise in this, there were 12 deities that were listed as, quote, hovering or living on top of Mount Olympus. And of course, Zeus gets the number one spot, Hera, the queen of the gods, and so many others like Apollo, the god of music and the sun, Artemis, the name of the spacecraft, the goddess of the hunt and the moon, Mars or Ares, Aphrodite, and so many others, Hermes, the messenger of the gods. And why I talk about this is that it's so fascinating, John, and I'm sure you could qualify this in greater detail, the great stories that we learn from astronomy and, of course, outer space from some of the ancients. They have the message kind of right, John. They were on the right path, studying and observing the heavens with great theories thousands of years ago.
Well, there are a lot of great theories. There's theories that giants used to walk the earth. There's theories that and they found bodies of giants, and they refused to put them in the actual museums. And they found bodies of different types of beings, human beings, or whatever you want to call them. Early prototypes of human beings. And the insinuation was, when I was listening to this, is that the fact is our creators, or whoever created us, they created different types of human beings. And right now we're in a position that us currently, we're being evolved into the next phase.
It's amazing, John. And just to go over some of the things you mentioned before, Mars, Curiosity, the rover on Mars, is continuing to detect potential signs of life, hydrocarbons and certain elements organically. And of course, someday we'll hopefully get the answer. But stay tuned during this coming week for the next major launch, John, of the Starship 12. That is the most powerful rocket on Earth, Elon Musk, and the new Starship, crewed capsule that's on top. They don't have people in it yet. So we're expanding, John, and that is a very interesting launch because that's the gateway to the moon and Mars and beyond. And it seems like Elon Musk and SpaceX have certainly taken the lead.
Steve Cates, Dr. Sky, thank you, and we'll talk again real soon.
Have a good day, John, and everybody on Sunday.